Today I want to talk about doing things when it's not perfect. So, I think we all have ups and downs where we have certain skill sets, and even the ones that we are best at when we do them, sometimes we're not the best at it in our own phases or moments. Sometimes we do them better at other times than other times. We do them worse at other times. There's no certain control. Like, it's not, let's say art, especially art, or I would say art is something that is in everything. Like, even if you do literature, that's literature art. Even if you do craftsman type of things, it's art in making things. Or engineering, that's technical art. So I'm not necessarily omitting certain things, but the art of creating things, perfecting things, the art of teaching, that's human to human relation. You're passing on knowledge to your students. In all of these arts, so I shouldn't have said especially art, because everything is art in itself, in its own definitions. In art, of course, there's moments that you just kind of go with the flow, and the flow itself is kind of helping you do it, and it's better or best situations, best forms. And in other times, you feel like you're doing the same thing. You feel like you're following the same type of practice that you always do. But on a specific day or specific hours or specific moments, you're just not able to, or at least you feel like you're not able to produce the same type of results, even though you feel like you're following the same steps that you usually take as, not as precautions, but maybe as precautions to not making mistakes. In that sense, art is the art that you do, whatever it is. It's not definite. It's not, whatever you do, you can't rely on, let's say, a mantra, or if I use these colors, it's always going to be perfect. Or if I use my lines this way, it's always going to be perfect. Or if I say these phrases, the students are going to listen. If I wear this clothes, I'm going to look good. Because it's more about the overall energy flow. And even if let's just say you are able to produce the same type of results every single time, you're still not going to be able to get the same result from the reactions. And what is art? Art is always something that is perceived. In that sense, the result doesn't rely on what you produce. It relies on the interaction with the production that you've put out between that and the people perceiving it. That is why, in essence, in reality, in factuality, art is ever-changing. Even if you produce the exact same type of results every single time, let's just say, it's still not going to be the exact same art. So in that sense, what does it mean to choose to not withdraw from your art when it's not perfect, or when it feels so imperfect? And I believe this is when you have to push. And you have to push with discipline. When it hurts, because your emotional struggle or your emotional turmoil from thinking that what you're doing isn't putting out the result that you want, and it bothers you, and you have to somehow still do it. In that very moment, you have to let go of the idea that the only times you do it is because it's perfect for you. And I think this is very reversed in idealism and reality. Because the more you're disciplined, the more you're going to hope for every production to give you the same result. But the more you get used to your action having near perfect result, the more you're going to be scared of flaws. And the more fear you have, the more you're going to withdraw from the moments that you believe is not going to give you the perfect result. So then after that, what do you rely on? You have to rely on the fact that you're not necessarily going to rely on the art's result, whatever your art is. Sometimes you have to solely rely on your discipline to push through the flaws in order to get to the result. Because you can be a perfect artist in everybody's eyes, but what do you do when you start fearing your own art? People can tell you everything or anything that they've always told you. Some people say it's not that good. Some people say it's terrible. Some people say it's perfect. Some people say it's wonderful. But it ultimately comes down to what you feel about it. And if you're feeling like it, the art, the act of doing your art gives you more fear than a sense of not satisfaction, but a sense of being able to reach what you want to reach, or what you want to create, and how you want to reach out to the world, the society, the people around you, your friends, your loved ones, to others, basically. Then, eventually, if your fear grows big enough, you're going to try to stop doing what you're doing. And you can't rely on anybody else because, like I said, people in general will always tell you mostly the same things. People who are supportive of you are always going to be there. People who are not so supportive of you are always going to be there too. So you can't rely on the exact balance of what percentages are those people. You have to rely on when it starts feeling icky inside for you to do those things, to do those arts that you have skill sets in. If you're going to choose to withdraw, or if you're going to say, okay, this is the moment where I implement the discipline to push through, not the discipline to do these creations, whatever it may be, architecture, engineering, IT network system analysis, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be visual art, music, literature, dance. It can be anything, construction, basically craftsmanship, or researcher, whatever it is. In the moment that you want to withdraw, but you ultimately want to keep doing it, or do that in that moment, or that you have to do it by a commitment that you made yourself because you wanted to make the commitment, then it becomes, okay, this is not the moment to rely on the perfection of my results. I have to push through by the discipline that I practice, which is the discipline to push through when the flaws are there in obvious ways, but for the fact that I practiced letting my mentality, my mindset, my energy take over in a better way in very moments like these, I'm going to choose to not withdraw and carry this production, carry this creation, carry this work that I do on, or do it in this very moment that I don't want to do it. So I don't think art or works are in any way about having it perfect. In a sense, because the more artist you are, they always say, the more imperfection you see in yourself. But at the same time, as you get better at certain skills within the skill set, like drawing a straighter line, drawing a perfect circle, coloring in perfectly. Of course, there's ways that you get better and you visibly see it yourself too. And right now I just used visual art, for example. Or if it's coding, you put in HTML5 or CSS. Is it CSS? CSS. And the more eloquently you type in the code, when you check the web page to review if it's working well or working at all, the update coding that you just input, you start to see the glitch less, or you notice that you have to double check less and less, or that it starts to work in wonderful ways that you didn't even expect it to work, when you didn't expect it to work that well. So it's in art as well, visual art as well. When you color it in, you add this color, and then you go, okay, I want to add that effect, and maybe you blur it. And I'm thinking of more like analog, like color pencil on paper maybe, and then you blur it in. Maybe add a little water and blur it in. And then after you're working on that detail, and then you look at the bigger paper, the whole picture, by kind of taking back your neck and your head, and then you look at it and you go, oh my God, that came out amazing. I know, because I've done visual art before, and I enjoy doing it. I've had those moments. Not necessarily that I think I'm a wonderful artist or like I'm amazing, but it's almost like something in the flow of the energy in the atmosphere took over and allowed me to create it. And I go, wow, that came out good. And after that, I have sheer appreciation that I was allowed to create such a thing. So maybe in those moments when you feel like, okay, my craft isn't going too well, it's not going perfectly, maybe I should right now switch to doing something else, or maybe just not do it, just not do too much right at the moment. In that moment, maybe sometimes you can choose to just either discipline your mindset and mentality so that you can push through the fear itself, or let go of the fear by allowing yourself to literally, physically, or mentally get in touch with the overall flow of things. Because usually fear only builds up when you have a block, when you have a barrier. Something is resisting your creativity and you notice it. It's almost like you notice it as an attack toward your creation. But it could be that it's just energy in the air telling you that you've been pushing yourself too much. You've been focusing on one aspect too much. It's time for you to just kind of explore through the other aspects of just living in this society, living in this world, living in this universe. It may be that. But if it's a moment that you know you want to get something done, and what's blocking you is your fear of, hey, I might not do it too perfectly, and I don't want to see myself do it imperfectly. That's the thing. Usually people will tell you, hey, you always do it. You're good at it. Just keep doing it. It's usually yourself saying that, I can't bear seeing myself create an imperfect thing. Well, you can just tell yourself that, hey, what am I, first of all, if I get technical with it, what am I defining by